Well, it is, and it's usually kind of a high level job, which means that I'm never engaged across a project through its whole development phase. Uh, for example, in Crysis 3, I've been very involved in developing the narrative of the game because we needed to make a really nice wrap up since it's the end of the trilogy. So that was a very important focus, and it's something that I have a lot of experience with from previous jobs and so on. I've been involved in movies and stuff like that. So that's what I spend a lot of time on with this game. With another game, it could be a different thing, but essentially, I'm responsible for the overall quality of the products that we release across the multiple studios and projects we have going on. Crytek.
As well.
Yeah, so I'm also involved in the Warface. Warface is an interesting one, right? Because it's been ongoing development for a long time, and now it's suddenly live, and it's a persistent game. So it's very different from all other things released by Crytek up until this point. It also means that in terms of shaping the IP and shaping background, shaping story, narrative, gameplay, it's a different challenge because you can do it over time and you get feedback and community feedback in a completely different way than you do with a kind of regular boxed product like Crysis. But yeah, that's something that I've been involved in as well, obviously. So first of all, New York is a very kind of internationally iconic city, right? It's been used in movies. It's one of the cities that has kind of most American historical presence, and it has all these visual icons like the Chrysler, Empire State, Statue of Liberty, all these different landmarks that people know. So the reasons for Crysis 1, I'm not going to go into too much detail why that was chosen, but the reason for we kept going with Crysis 3 was that we wanted to create a sense of, yeah, I kind of know this, I recognize it, either because I recognize the city, I know the city, or because I played Crysis 2, but then flipping that completely on its head and creating like something that in essence is recognizable but completely different from what you would expect, right? And that's what this whole urban rainforest seven wonders concept is all about. So we wanted to not create just the, should we say, like standard post-apocalyptic setting with some collapsed buildings here and some bushes there. We wanted to create a city that, through its shape language, was completely defined by a rainforest, but that rainforest being an integral part of the city's shape, which is a very difficult challenge actually, and something that I'm personally very proud on behalf of the team because I think they executed really well on that. The whole thing takes place in Manhattan. Oh, I think I hit your microphone there. The whole thing takes place in Manhattan, but at the same time, the Seven Wonders create these seven very unique visual experiences. And not only are they visually different, they're also tonally different. Some of them are very dark and sinister and more condensed. Some of them are very, very open, and you feel like a little bit like a fish out of water because all of a sudden your stealth might not work the same way it did in the previous level or the previous area. And also, the layout of them are very different, so we can do different kinds of gameplay setups. Everything you can approach the way you want to, which is very much important of the Crysis DNA. We wanted to create more openness and more a gameplay spiritually more a successor to Crysis 1, maybe, if you will, than Crysis 2. But at the same time, we also need to make sure that we wrapped up all the unclosed, the unanswered questions being raised by the end of Crysis 2, especially, right?